Hi, everybody, and welcome to Zoom Chats 2020. We have a very special guest in our Zoom room today. I'm going to read all of her things so I don't miss them. She is the bass of the 1980 International Quartet champion Penfours. She's the director of the 1988 International Chorus Champions Vienna Falls. She's a certified judge in two categories, sound and expression. She is a master faculty in our faculty program. She's been the Education Direction Committee Chair twice. She was the judge specialist moderator for many years, overseeing our entire judging program. She's a past international president of Sweet Adelines International from 1991 to 1993, with a wonderful and long career on the international board. She's the President's Lifetime Achievement Award winner from the year 2000. And she is currently the director of the award-winning Woodland Show Chorus from Region 10 in Houston, Texas. Welcome to Zoom Chats, Betty.
Well, hi. I'm so excited to be here. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's great to see you. I didn't miss anything, did I?
You did great.
Okay, thanks. I'm so looking forward to getting to talk to you about today because of our topic. Most Sweet Adelines know that you have coached quartets and choruses all over the world, and you have helped create many champions. So if we had about 10 or 15 hours, we could talk about all of them. So many of us have been the benefit of your teaching. But today, I want you to tell us everything you can tell us about coaching quartets and choruses. It'll be a short conversation.
I think the first thing that you want to do is go back to school and get a degree in psychology.
In order to coach about vocal production, okay?
Exactly, because when I look back over the years as a chorus director and a coach, I think the music, that knowledge that I went back to school and studied music then, and I had my degree in psychology and went back into voice. But the thing was that all these years, having that idea of why people do what they do and try to understand how their personality is so I can help them and get rid of all blocks so that they can be totally open to doing what they need to do to get where they want to go. And so it's really work reading people, understanding. Of course, how they sing is the first thing that, when they start singing, I'm listening to their vocal skills and the vocal skills development and the sense of unit in the group.
So let's start with, oh my gosh, I have so many questions. Let's start with a C or C plus level quartet, fairly new. They're standing in front of you for the first time. When they sing, what is the first thing that you would address with a quartet of that level?
Well, the first thing I would do would ask them to sing for me, and no matter what, do not stop. Because at that point they are concerned about themselves surviving, and they're usually very nervous, and hoping that they leave the session whole.
Yes.
I make sure I give them positive feedback with my body language, try to help them to feel comfortable. And when they get done, I have been listing anything I can say positive. And I'm very sensitive to that, because the very first time I went with a coaching session with my quartet, the Penfours, I was a very insecure person. And we were going to this coach, and I thought, I had never worked with a coach as a quartet person, and a whole drive out there, I kept thinking, he's going to tell them to get a new bass. He's going to tell them to, this voice in my head's going. So anyway, we have this session, we're driving home, and I'm thinking, I'm still the bass. Oh my God, I love that. I'm still the bass. I haven't been replaced. And so I'll never forget that feeling of there you are for the first time, opening yourself up to finding out, asking somebody what they think of your voice. And So it's very healing when somebody thinks you're okay.
Right. After you get them over the first hurdle, calm their nerves down a little bit, give them positive reinforcement. What's the thing that a C to C plus level should focus on? Is it on the individual voices? Is it unit sound? Is it lead bass match?
Well, actually, what you just said, those three things, is I work on all three of those by starting with each individual voice.
Okay, and I've had the pleasure of being coached by you and also observing you coach a quartet, and I've seen you do that.
I work with each singer,
Right.
give her specific things to focus on in the next hour or two, whatever what amount of time we have,
Right.
and then put them back together, and immediately they're happy. They can hear that they sound better and they feel more comfortable, and then you start. You know, I'm always very honest, but I don't say things in a way that would makes it sound like, and you never will get any better.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, it's sort of like if you say you have a problem. Now we all have problems, but to address it in a, this is what you're doing, and it's pretty darn good. But if you did this,
Right.
so it's always, and it's a we thing. What I want the chorus or quartet to realize is that I'm also trying things so I can find the perfect thing that will work for them. Because you can say the same thing. You can say continuous tone flow. You can say lyric flow. You can say sound in motion. You can say wall of sound, and they hear them all over the years. And then somebody says, sound in motion, they go, sound in motion, like, that's
Something new.
a light bulb. Yeah. And you go, yay, because it was the time for them to hear it
They're ready.
and latch onto it and use it.
Is there a way for the lead and bass to directly work on their match since it's so important for what we build the rest of the sound on?
Yes. The answer is yes. And the major thing I go for is vocal freedom. You get the lead open and free.
Okay.
And if you can get her to not overdo anything that you just said, and just get her to be free. Sometimes, like, I can remember saying to Leslie, who was in both Max Factor and Signature Sound, let me just hear Leslie sing.
Right.
And she started singing. I'm like, why are you fixing that? It was beautiful. So anyway, but then I want the bass to sing, and I talk about wrapping her voice around the lead,
Yes.
so that it's not this voice and this voice, it's these voices. And so to get a sense of singing into each other, rather than out at the audience, that they're singing into the sound of their voices, and you allow the other voices to join you, sing, to join you rather than you're singing and you sing. Well, let's sing together.
Together.
So that you wrap your voices around each other. And when you think about it, this is the thing about our organization that I love, is that we have all these champions. We could say Touche and Signature Sound and Showtime and The Buzz. And, I could go on and on and on. And Viva and Luster. And they have many commonalities, which is they sing great.
Right.
But they all have a different sound.
They do.
And that's, so we don't want to have this, there's a sweet Adeline sound. No,
Possible.
we need to get people to open up and sing freely, so that the uniqueness of the timbres of their voices can make sure that that's who they become, rather than trying to sound like the person you're standing next to.
Somebody else. Perfect. So we get that level, and then what happens when a quartet starts to knock on the door of B minus, B the next development in B level, you're going to work on different things.
Well, they have accomplished a lot of the thing I think of as mastery of the basics.
Basics. Okay.
So their vocal skills are getting very good, and they're singing more as a unit. They're more accurate. I'm thinking of the big four: energy, unity, and accuracy, vocal skills. We're starting to get into the elements of in all of the categories of the right brain skills,
Right.
making the story come alive. Um, making it emotional, adding characterization to their voices. And I keep thinking of I love the expression category because it's when the whole storyline is the big thing on that stage instead of the people doing it. It becomes the message of the song.
Well, and now our education has been so stellar throughout all of our history that most of our groups are living in the B minus to B minus BB plus, and so we've raised the level of performances across the organization. But what happens is the majority of our groups stay somewhere in B level for quite a long time. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's where the big uh, elements of the categories really start to come together, and they come together at different times. So a group may conquer one element. A quartet may really have their sound linked, but then they're missing some other elements. And so they hover around in B, and I know a lot get frustrated with it, but those are the real working years, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm in a quartet that keeps getting mid B, um, what are a couple of things that we could work on? I should say quartet or chorus to just to reach B plus, to get that little bit of sparkle added to it that puts us into the B plus, looking up the road to A minus.
Emotional and energy commitment. Like when I think of high B, like 72, 73, and it's like, oh, come on, couldn't you give us a 74? Well, not yet, because you held it tight up there. You never gave it to the audience. It's like you think, okay, so they didn't make any mistakes. They're trying to not make mistakes, and so it's cautious and it's careful. And if you make what's I mean, when have you not made a mistake? You know what I mean? That I've never been a part of a perfect performance, um, and so there's if you don't take a risk, you will never get into those lofty levels
Right. And
because you've got to say, okay, we did our homework. Here goes.
you were saying that they hold back and they
Yeah.
don't give it away, and it's visual as well. So their characterization choices and their energy just comes out a little bit in front of the ensemble and doesn't make it out to the pit or out to the audience. They're holding it in like they're trying to get the choreography right, which I know they are. But it stops the emotion from flowing. So maybe when we all get back together and we get to sing again, we can help ourselves learn how to not be so cautious and be willing to make some more mistakes.
Amen. Well, and no, it's very difficult to get emotionally involved in people's excellent vowels. Yeah, they're important. I'm not saying they're not important, but it's got to go past that now. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Okay.
you're doing all that, but what about the score sheets? Each of them, all four of them, they go. The more basic skills are on the left, and then have a column in the middle, and then the column on the right is where all the points are. A lot of the points are that the low B plus people are not grabbing for, and they just keep working on even more mastery of the basics, which I'm not going to knock that. That helps, but now add the artistic elements, the telling the story, making it come alive, using more body language, more energy, more emotion, more passion, and these are like you you can't the vowels don't match. That's this is odd, and you're saying this one's saying, oh, you know, so that's something people can understand. It's like, yeah, I get that.
Right.
But when you're saying add more passion, more drama, and there, it's like, it's something we feel. I
Right.
was judging the competition at International. It was a chorus competition. And I was in the expression category, which I love at International. And well, the chorus started. And I mean, I have a definite routine when I'm judging. I make sure, you know, I write my songs down that, you know. And I was literally for the first, it seemed like a minute, but I'm sure it was more like 15 or 20 seconds. I was paralyzed. I had not moved my fingers. And I was like, I can't. I didn't know. It was Runninga when they opened the first time they ever won, and they started with When I Fall in Love. And I was like, oh. So I thought, well, now get a grip. And then I thought,
something.
but the whole point was they took me totally out of the basics of my category, and I was all the way over to the far right of the sheet. And and I just said, I just wrote all kinds of far right over to the side of the sheet comments. It was just about beautiful, beautiful treatment, magnificent decrescendo, you know, whatever. And that's the difference. I wasn't saying vowels continue to, you know, strengthen, da, da, da.
The B level has a lot of up and down and up and down and up and down as we sort of trade back and forth as we conquer one skill. Like we get them to pour emotion in and they focus on those elements in the expression category, and some of the basics slip a little bit. And so it's all about building skills to keep it consistent. And a group like Runiga, it then goes back to this feeling of total ease, as if they haven't had to work on anything. They're just out there sharing this moment with the audience. So when we get a group that's like at B plus, just aching to make that turn into A minus, the language changes a lot. We get rid of a lot of the basic language and we start talking about things. I always say it's more touchy feely things that are more intangible to
Right.
that turn into that A level. Certainly, though, when the high level groups at International start singing, it's visceral in the pit. It is a sensation of.
Oh, well, I start crying. I mean, when I'm crying in the pit, you're going to get a really good score because you have made music.
Yeah.
You pulled me right into that storyline and I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. And I love when that happens.
So what
And
do
if
we
it's a
do?
ballad that makes me cry,
Yeah.
I thank them afterwards. Are we weird or what? I mean, it's like, oh, I cried and cried. Thank you, you know,
Thank you so much.
for making me cry. Well, you know, we watched my chorus. We were very careful in St. Louis, and we got high B plus, you know, B, and so and we went back to regional then the next spring, and we said
No care.
no careful, no cautious. You know, we worked on letting it fly. We worked on energy. We worked on characterization. We worked on excitement. We worked on, well, we got A minus A.
Yeah.
It was like same two songs.
Songs.
And the one was like, we really have to be careful. And the other one was like, no more, you know. So we just, you know, let it fly and had a blast. And
Right, more fun.
yeah, and then I was like, I don't even care where we scored. You know what I mean? Because we had it, we loved what we were doing and we were giving it out to the audience. And so they loved us and cheered and it was like, we're never gonna do that careful thing again.
No. So I've seen you do this a lot, and I want to ask you about it. You often give homework
Oh,
when you're done with a quartet or a chorus coaching session for the next time you're going to see them. And so just tell us about how you pull those pieces, what you want them to work on. How do you help them prioritize?
if it's that we've been trying to go from B to B plus and just, you know, more energy, more excitement. the homework is doing this every time you come to rehearsal, so that you start the rehearsal very energized and do it with every single repertoire song.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Um, Directors and quartets need to put the same passion and excitement and mastery of the basics into every song on the repertoire. You want to sing every song so that when you give a performance in your community, the audience
Right.
is involved in everything you're doing.
If they don't practice with peak energy all the time on all of their repertoire songs, the adrenaline of being in a competition setting wanes through the performance because they haven't built it up as an absolute given that they're going to perform with a certain kind of energy. So the excitement of being in front of an audience, in front of a judging panel, on the contest stage, in a show, makes little fractures in the performance. Really, really key that the whole repertoire gets that energy infusion, gets the freedom, so it becomes their standard. Because then you're knocking on A minus when you can have any song, even the one you sing to welcome in a new member, when that can be sung with energy and intention and creativity and joy and openness. There's
Yeah,
beautiful, and more ring happens.
exactly.
So, what's your favorite part about coaching?
Oh my gosh, that's there's no question what my favorite part is.
Okay.
My favorite part is when I watch people's dreams come true.
Oh,
I I I'm telling you, it's just overwhelming to me. I was just looking over at a picture of Luster, and but I remember. I mean, I remember when I met them the very first time in a hotel room in the middle of nowhere, and I thought, hey, these guys have good voices. Anyway, so fast forward to many years later, and they never. I mean, it was like it was the same four people, and you're going, wow, because a lot of times people say, "Could you think we could ever win?" And I say to them, "How long do you intend to be together?" Because it takes time. And but those four, they just came back to the drawing board, and the four of them worked on the four of them, and they just kept getting higher and higher. And we walked out on that first set and sang in the semifinals. The tears were just, except I was so tense because I wanted them to do it with freedom. So I thought I'll do all the tension here.
we weren't singing, but we were doing every breath with them and holding our hands like this.
And I could tell the instant they walked out that they were relaxed. That's the whole thing. I mean, it's mhm.
It's an honor to get to watch that process.
I know it is. I'm an emotional person. I love music. I love everything about performing. I love everything about rehearsing, you know. And so when I see somebody up there doing it, I mean, I didn't think I was going to make it through Hamilton. That it's on Disney Plus now, and I, I was
I didn't
I was
either.
exhausted at the end of that show because I had been dancing all the whole performance. I mean, I just can't sit still. And I was so emotionally involved and physically involved. And uh, it was fabulous. It was fabulous.
It was, I mean, stunning.
And I've watched You'll Be Back over and over because of the characterization and his body language and the way, I mean, it is a masterful.
Right, that's power, right? He has three songs. He's in three short scenes of a nearly 3 hour musical, and he won a Tony.
That is all the right brain stuff there in a nutshell. He lived that song
Did.
and the message, and we all got it.
Oh, it's fabulous. So it seems to me that a lot of quartets don't stay together long enough. They have something happen in a contest setting. They get comments that are about some foundational things if they're a new quartet, and they decide to stop. And I wish they would just hang in there a little bit longer, because what we do is difficult. It's a very difficult art form. There's nowhere to hide. It's your voice on display, particularly in a quartet. And so many skills to learn that I try and encourage quartets. Just hang in there a little while longer. And like you said about Lester, go back to the drawing board, look at the basics, begin to really grasp how each of your voices play together.
If you get along and you have all have a work ethic,
Right.
that people are showing up knowing their music or having done their homework or whatever.
Yeah.
Just
dig in and
take,
just dig in and do the
yeah.
work. It's really, really worth it.
Yep.
I'm thrilled that we got to spend time together today, and I look forward to the members hearing you talk about what it's like to coach different groups.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I've loved every minute, and I appreciate being asked.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Stay safe.